you felt the change? Things feel different. Systems are strained. Trust is gone. And the line between a regular day and rule of law breaking down feels thinner than it used to. People keep asking the same question. What happens if this comes to my neighborhood? What if?
All right, let's stop right there, because that's exactly how most preparedness conversations start, and it's also where they go wrong. Urban defense is not about panic. It's not about barricading yourself in an apartment with a fantasy plan and 100 days worth of ramen noodles. Prepared people don't start when the chaos hits. They already have structure in place. Friends, neighbors, businesses, a community. Because cities don't forgive bad assumptions. So instead of starting with the worst case scenario, let's start where control actually exists. Zone 1, the urban information layer. All right, we're going to set the scene here in this scenario. It's not the absolute end of law, but it's pretty close. So you live in a city. There are bridges, highways, bus routes, metro lines. A major event happens, whatever it is. Protests turn into fights, fights turn into riots, martial law gets declared. Emergency services are overwhelmed. And at that point, the only person coming to save you is you and the community you built before this exact moment that you've been preparing for. Zone 1 isn't about control, it's about awareness in an urban scenario. Cities amplify movement. Bridges, highways, transit corridors compress people. Denser populations mean higher unpredictability. Wow, I said that right. It's crazy. So, in Zone 1, you're not stopping anything. You're observing, gathering information, you establish patterns, you set baselines, you look for abnormalities. Once you know what the new normal looks like, new normal, changes stand out immediately. But you're not doing this alone. This is where your community matters. Barbers hear everything. Bartenders see patterns, shop owners notice changes that you wouldn't normally see, and the mailman knows every person's name and face on his route. These connections keep your finger on the pulse of the city, always shifting, always evolving, because mobs move fast, so communication matters. This is why planning is critical in an urban environment. If you're blind here, everything else goes to the wayside and becomes guesswork. Eventually, though, awareness stops being abstract. At some point, what's happening out there starts affecting right here. And that's when we get to Zone 2, the decision space. Zone 2 is where we start shaping movement, not through force, but through design. What might be hundreds of yards for a rural homestead defense could be a single city block here. And as we know from the other video that I did on this subject, distance equals time and time equals survival. Urban environments compress time, but that doesn't mean you're doomed. With the right measures in place, you can turn Zone 2 into a controlled space, essentially an internal Zone 1. Here's how. Typically, people take the path of least resistance because we are lazy creatures. And this is where the concept of terrain denial comes in. By denying access to alleyways, side entrances, external structures, you funnel movement away from your strong point. You don't post guards at entrances because that'll draw attention. That's the opposite of what we want. But you do post someone up who's dressed plainly, observing. And these locations are observed from other positions all the time. Roving patrols inside Zone 2 keep things looking business as usual. And early detection where you can't see is handled with simple noise traps. Because sound attracts attention, and if someone doesn't belong, you want to know early. All this being said, talking about sound traps, you need a signal plan. Something that cuts through the street noise. Flares, bullhorns, a JBL speaker blasting Fetty Wap.
I don't feel alive and there's nothing that makes me happy. Oh, hold my beer for a minute.
Whatever you agree on, it just has to stand out. And then one of the last parts that we're looking in Zone 2 is your vertical dominance. This is the part where urban terrain is awesome because you can use fire escapes, rooftops, third-story windows. All of these things, using that elevation, buys you time. Rooftops let you move between structures, create emergency exits, and reassess when things change in live time. All right, so let's say the situation shifts, you become the target, the alarm sound, and it's time to fall back to Zone 3, your internal layered defense. Zone 3 is decisive. If Zone 2 was a Russian nesting doll, then Zone 3 is multi-layered cake. with violence. Here, you consolidate into one, preferably two buildings. Ground level doors and windows are locked and barred, and then light and noise become your tools. Floodlights can disorient, sound confuses. Imagine getting blasted by Fetty Wap from a rooftop across the street while you're trying to break into this place.
I don't feel alive and there's nothing that makes me
Your provisions are stored in basements and upper levels, so that way if one layer fails, another exists to pick up the slack. Every inch a would-be attacker wants to move is going to cost them. Your goal isn't to win, it's to hold long enough for the threat to leave, for you to escape, or to end the threat. Here's the part no one likes to hear. Most people will never need this, and if they do, it probably won't look this dramatic. Today's scenario was pretty mild, but preparedness isn't cinematic. It's quiet, boring, and intentional. Thinking through scenarios like this, however, watching videos like this, and maybe liking, commenting, or subscribing, and talking through these ideas with people you trust, that's how you prepare for worst case scenarios. Playing these mind games, playing these red cell games, these things that are crazy to some, but that's why we prepare, because we prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and that leaves us ready for anything in between. Urban defensive manuals and training programs all agree on one thing. As a defender, the odds are stacked in your favor. And this, again, is a mild to extreme scenario. But it's not impossible. In the last 5 years alone, we've seen riots, civil unrest, urban combat overseas of like we haven't seen since the Iraq War in like Fallujah and Ramadi. We don't watch these events to be afraid. We learn from them. And that's what being another prepared American is all about. We learn from these experiences around us. That way we can shape our futures with preparedness. Thanks for watching. I've got more defensive videos coming out the rest of this month, some shorts, stuff like that. Drop a comment. We've had tons of insightful stuff in the last video. I would love to see what you guys think about the urban concept and the way that I approach it from the internally layered idea. But yeah, I think that's everything. As always, guys, stay hydrated, stay strapped, and stay blessed, guys. Thanks. Kapow!